Hi, I'm Kyle with Trampolines.com, and today we're going to show you how to set up an enclosure. This video is merely used as a reference, showing you the technical points on how to set it up. It should not be used as a substitute for using the actual owner's manual. Alright, our first step is going to be put the U-bolts on here, and what we need is 3 of these per leg post. And to get started, I'm just going to go ahead and undo all of these. We had to undo them to get the washers off that are in there. So the first one will just go around the leg. Get my washer on. Then the nut, and we can just let that drop. We don't need it yet. Then we'll lift up this lip on the frame pad. Put the one on one side of the leg post, and the other one, again coming up from behind, on the horizontal frame bar on the other side of the leg post. And now these brackets will connect one U-bolt to the other U-bolt. Put those on. And I'll just give it a firm pull. This. Now I'm going to repeat that same step for each of the remaining 7 legs. The 12 foot and 14 foot will have 8 leg posts. If you got a 16 foot, you're going to receive a box called a plus kit, and that'll have an extra set of hardware, 2 extra sets of hardware, 2 extra sets of poles, because the 16 foot trampoline will actually have 10 leg posts all the way around. Alright, now that we have our U-bolts attached to every leg, next step is going to be to build the poles. And to do that, I'm going to start off with this blue sleeve. Just unfold that. And you'll see we have a short piece and a long piece of foam. I'll start by putting the short piece in first. And then next, pull up with the longer piece. Sometimes it can get tricky putting those in, just the way it was folded. And then push it all the way up there to the end. Now, you'll notice we have 16 sets of poles and 2 different ones. So what I have is I have 8 bottom pieces. These will be easy to identify because they have the push button on it. And then 8 top pieces. That'll be easy to identify because it has the notch in it. And all I'm going to do is just assemble this. And then I'll just slide that in to our blue sleeve with the foam in it. Now when I get to the end, I need that to protrude through the blue vinyl sleeve, just like that. Alright, now that we've got all 8 of our poles built, we are going to attach these to the trampoline. And what I'm going to use is a cordless drill. If you're going to use this, you're going to save a lot of time, but you need to be very careful. On this one, we have an adjustable torque meter on it, so I can be careful not to over torque them. Otherwise, what you can do is get the bolts started and then come back and tighten them up by hand. In this case, we need a 10mm socket, and I have to use a 10mm long socket. If you have a traditional or a standard short length, it won't work because the length of the stem will be too long for the bolt that it goes on. So we do have this attachment. If you have 2 people, this will make the step a lot easier, but I'm going to do this one by myself. So the first step would be just to pull this out, open that up, and you will also notice there is a notch in the top of this, and when I put it up, I want this notch to run parallel with the frame. I do not want it twisted or turned at all, just because we are going to be resting the net inside that. So what I'm going to do is I'll drop this right down in here. And we have our length predetermined. I've made a mark on here, and that length from the ground up to here should be marked on the screen in front of you. And I'll just start by tightening up the back ones. And then just make sure that this is straight. Now I'll come by and tighten up the top ones. And also I just want to make sure this blue sleeve is out of the way. I don't want to catch that in there at all. Then I'll come back and tighten all these up. Being very careful not to over tighten them. You can strip the nuts out. Now I'm going to repeat that step for the remaining poles. Alright, our next step is going to put these safety plastic covers on. This will go over the front here, just because these ends are going to be sharp and we don't want the kids to get hurt. These caps just go right over this. And we're also supplied with zip ties to secure it on. Now there's nothing sharp. Kids to cut themselves on. Also, many kids tend to play underneath the trampoline, and that's why we're provided with these caps, which will go on the lower one. You can screw those on, or you can just push them on. And again, repeat that for the remaining poles. Our next step is going to be put the pole caps on. And all we'll do, push down on them, get those on each pole. Alright, now it's time to put the net on. And if you have two people, this will make it a lot easier, but this morning I'll be doing this by myself. What we have is, this will be our starting end. We can identify our starting end because this tag will be at the very end. So I'm going to go to this end, and you'll notice there's two different thickness straps here. We have a thin strap and we have a thicker strap. And the thicker strap is going to run along the top side. What I'm going to do is put that around there. The other end, I'm just going to tie off one of the D-rings. This is just a temporary tie. So I'll just stick that one there. Now if you had a second person, they'd be holding this net for you while you do this. Otherwise, if you have to do it by yourself, throw it around each one. And that top one, and all we're going to do is just rest it in the notch. And we'll continue this step all the way around the tram. Now that we're at the end, everything looks good. You will notice there's a knot right here, and we can unloosen this and slide the knot this way or the other way. If my net was only coming to right here, what I would do is lift up each end and spread it out more evenly all the way around, unloosen this knot, and slide the net down further. But in this case, all I'm going to do is imagine where that it has to be at, and I'm just going to make a knot. So now I have this looped end that is going to go over this pole. And I'm just going to lift this off the strap, get it over that pole, and put that strap back on. Alright, our next step is going to be to help pull the net down. You can see it's sitting high right now. So what I'm going to do, just feed this through here, and I'll wrap it around, clip it off to itself. And again, I'll continue that step all the way around. Alright, we've got these bungee straps almost all the way around, and here's a case where I'm going to have to move that knot. You can see I've got quite a bit of excess in here, and obviously it's not going to fold over properly. So what I'm going to need to do is just loosen this knot up. Now you can see I can slide this net further along, just like that. And then once I have that net stretched out, then I come back and tighten that knot up. And now you can see we've got that pretty much overlapped. I've got the warning stuck out. Now I'm just going to pull this tight, wrap it around the bar a few times, and in this case I'm just going to tie it off right here. Our last step, we're going to use these remaining straps to help pull this down. And in this case what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here, feed this all the way through. The reason I start right here is because I can pull this back further to help out with that opening. You see I've already put the ladder on. And now all I'm going to do is wrap this around the frame. That's it for setting up your enclosure. If you have any other questions, please visit us at www.trampolines.com. Thank you.